I've opened up a handful of images here that I need to process for use in a video project. I have 4 photos open. Under Mac, you have a few options to view these windows. If I take advantage of Expose under OS 10.3, I can press F10, and that will let me view all of the images. This is not part of Photoshop, but rather is Expose and works on the system level. I anticipate that the next version of Windows will probably pick this up. Under Photoshop, you can choose Window, Arrange, Cascade, and the images will parade for you, or better yet, Window, Arrange, Tile, and you'll get all of the images tiled within your available canvas space here. Let's go ahead and start with our first one, and I'll make that image maximized to fit. This image is very large. If I hold down the Option or the Alt key and I click down here in the Document Spec area, I'll see the details. It's about 2,000 pixels wide, almost 3 times wider than what I need for use in a video project. Let's go ahead and resize and tighten this image up in one step. I choose the Crop tool, and I need to type in my new desired size up top here. I can type in 720 px for pixels, tab over and type in 534 px, and that'll be the proper resolution for a digital video project. If I'd like, I can come over to the Tool Presets area and click on the New Preset here, and it'll add a new tool preset, and I can name this Square Pixel DV, and now it appears in this list. I'm just going to delete a few of these other ones away. I'm just Alt-clicking or Option-clicking. You'll also find on the DVD-ROM that you have additional tool presets that you can load. I'll say Load Tool Presets, and I'll navigate to the DVD-ROM. Inside the chapter file, for Chapter 2, you'll find Video Crop Tool Presets, and I can click Load. And you'll get a series of common sizes used in video. I now go ahead and click and drag, and you'll notice that the image is constrained to the 4:3 aspect ratio that I need for use in a video project. When satisfied, I can let go, and the area that's to be cropped becomes grayed out. I now press Enter or click the Commit checkbox. The image is now sized down for video and is cropped tighter. Let's go ahead and press Command plus or Control plus to zoom in a bit. This image is sized for use in a digital video project. However, it's a little bit too tall. That's because our image is being used in square pixels. To compensate for non-square pixels, I need to say Image, Image Size. I uncheck the Constrain Proportions box, and we type in a new height. In this case, it's 480. And then click OK or press Return. The image has changed shape. I'll toggle my undo. While it appears distorted inside of Photoshop, you've merely compensated for non-square pixels. And when imported and displayed in the nonlinear editing system or the motion graphics application, this image will display correctly. If you'd like to, inside of Photoshop CS, once you've compensated for the stretch and forced the pixels into a non-square pixel shape, you can choose Image, Pixel Aspect Ratio, and set it to the D1 shape here. You'll notice that the image now appears correct. I can now choose File, Save As, and save that image out for use in my video project. Give it a name. And this is important. Do not use the JPEG format for video projects. Mixing JPEG compression with digital video or Avid compression, Cinewave compression, etc. will just cause you problems. Switch to a format such as PICT or Targa and save the file. I'll save it at 32 bits per pixel with no compression. And I can now close the document. Let's do that technique on a couple more images here. However, this time we'll compensate for a few more issues. Punch this image up here, and I'm going to go ahead and size this image down. First though, I'm going to make a couple of corrections to the image. Let's say select color range. This allows me to select a large area of color, and I'm going to click and start to drag through here. That's close. I can now hold down the Shift key and click again. And you'll see that I just picked up basically the entire water. We'll fuzz that out a little bit so it's softer, and I can click OK. You'll see that it made a large selection on the image. Let's add a hue and saturation adjustment layer. I do that by clicking on this little black and white icon at the bottom of the layers palette. I can now roll the hue of the image. In this case, I'll make it bluer. Put a little saturation back in the water. Take the lightness down a little bit. Before, after. A little more saturation back in. That's pretty good. If I'd like to go extreme, I can click the colorize box, and you see that it gets much punchier with how that color is applied. That blue though is just unnatural, so I'll just uncheck the colorize box, and that's looking pretty good to me. Before, after. So I've fixed the water. Let's go ahead and add an overall adjustment layer for levels. Click on the black and white icon and choose levels. Histogram here involves getting the balance of the image right. I pull the white point into the outer edge and the black point in. And now I can just move the middle slider to adjust exposure. Pull the white point back out a little bit, let it be a little dark, and that's pretty good. Except I've got an exposure problem. The water is great. My dog, not so good. Instead of worrying though about creating a new selection, I could take advantage of an existing selection down here in the layers palette. We already isolated the water. I could command click or control click on this thumbnail to load it. And in doing so, you'll see that we loaded the water. Now it's a matter of just saying select inverse, and the dog is selected. I could add a second adjustment layer for levels, and I can open up the exposure just on the dog. And you see that facial details that were lost now start to come back. Don't overcrank, but there's the extreme of lifting the dog out. Pull that in a little bit and click OK. You may notice a hard edge here. That's very simple to fix. Just click on your thumbnail for the mask, grab the blur tool, and you can go ahead and soften that up a little bit. And you see that that transitionary line begins to blend. If you need the blur tool stronger, increase the strength. And you can quickly go over it. If you'd like to be even faster, simply run the Gaussian blur filter on your layer mask. Adjust the radius and click OK. And that gives me a more gradual blend. In this case, I have a slight halo, so I could say filter, other, minimum. Maximum and minimum act like matte chokers. And as I adjust the radius here, you'll see that the matte begins to shrink a little. And I now have the perfect edge. So our picture, just to keep this in perspective, went from this to this in just a few steps. All of those details were locked inside the image. Through using image adjustments, we were able to bring out the proper contrast and re-expose the photo, making this a much better shot. Now that I'm satisfied, again, grab the crop tool, and I can crop to taste. Give the dog a little bit of look room for the running, and click Commit. There it is, File, Save As, and I will place out a picked file into my process folder. Additionally, Because I've done so much work on this image to add new layers and properly expose it, I should save out a PSD file. This way, if I need to, I can go back to the layered version and make additional tweaks.